Alright, this is an impromptu tier list coming from the Sunflower Samurai. My name is Aneil, and I am known as Mind's Desire Online, and I am joined by world premiere winners from Madrid. I have Pablo Pintor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I have Pablo Pintor. Sergio Sans, right?
Yes.
And Daniel Correas.
And that's me, Daniel.
How's everyone doing today?
Fine. We're really excited to do this tier list, right, guys?
And we are actually in 3 different places in Spain. We're pretty far away from each other, so the audio quality might not be the best. We are on our phones, but yeah, we're really pumped to do this.
I am the only one on
are
PC right
always
now,
fun.
So. Yeah, tier lists are good. So just a quick introduction for everyone. You know, these are the calling winners. We have Pro Tour 1 winner, Pablo, and then I know Daniel finished top 8 at that calling in New Jersey. And Akuma, did you top 32 the Pro Tour?
Akuma did win the Battle Hardened.
That was it. Yeah, he just won this recent Battle Hardened, right?
Yeah. Did you end Akuma top 64 or 32?
I don't know if he's having issues with the computer.
Yeah, we can't.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't hear you if you're talking, but maybe that'll come through at the end. So quickly to go through our tier list. Basically, we're just gonna talk about this for the upcoming calling Pro Tour meta. You know, this is the big RTN meta right now. It seems like the meta we have right now is pretty healthy, pretty wide open, and a lot of people kind of are disagreeing where things are supposed to be. And a lot of heroes are, I think, overperforming where a lot of people are putting them based on what we've seen.
Yeah, I believe the meta is pretty strange right now. There's no solved decks, probably. We will start to see them, I believe, after these first callings. And yeah, I believe people are rating some things way too high.
All right, so
yeah,
okay.
I believe that in this meta, maybe you have to adapt to your local meta or the tournament meta, and it's not like there is a strong deck as a Starboard chain in the past
that you can just take blindly anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that deck. Is it a healthy meta, or all the decks are underpowered?
or is Chain and Starvo too overpowered?
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, we're gonna go over. A lot of people have different ideas and concepts about rankings and where they put them on tier lists. So just the premise that I have for tier lists for rankings is when you go to an RTN or a calling or whatever, you can top finish with whatever hero that exists in the game. You can do it. I've seen people top 8 with Azalea. We have Levia winning events. These lower tier heroes can win. So my concept for ranking heroes is your hero will never lose you games, but your hero will make it harder for you to win games. So if you pick a lower tier hero, you'll have to work and play tighter. You know, you have to tune your deck harder for the meta. You can't get away with as much as, say, playing a top tier hero, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You will probably need to be luckier with your variants.
Yeah, exactly. You need higher variants, matchup. You need your matchups to fall your way more, as opposed to some of the top tier heroes. So, real quick before we get to this list, we have 2 heroes here that are going to go into this tier, because Chain and Starvo have hit Living Legend, can't play them. So let's just get them out of the way.
I don't think I would say this, but if you had asked me before the tour, but I am actually missing Chain. He was a pretty easy choice to go into the Pro Tour. I mean, this is not happening this time.
Look, I miss Chain also. He was easy choice, and I really liked playing Chain. He was super fun to play. I can imagine a lot of people didn't enjoy playing against Chain, but as someone who enjoyed playing Chain, I definitely feel that same sentiment. I'm pretty sure the 3 of us played Chain. We have 3 Chain players and a Prism player from the previous meta.
Yeah, but anyway, Who will say that a hero that draw more cards than the rest of the champions in the game is going to be broken, right?
Yeah. I mean, I read that hero initially when I first started learning the game, and I just assumed he was broken, and as it turns out, he was. Okay, so on our tier list for our actual available heroes, we have one of Pablo's favorite heroes, Bravo Showstopper. Yeah. So, as our resident Bravo player, I guess, tell me, where do you think Bravo goes here? If you had to take Bravo to a tournament, how hard are you going to have to work to win, to top it? Well, I don't want to go with the win, because I think wins are you need a lot of luck, but let's say the top four are Road to Nationals, or like top 16 like a Calling or something.
I think Bravo, all Guardians are doing pretty good right now. Like, I believe Bravo could be in tier S. But the main problem of the Guardian class is that Prism is a deck. Prism still exists, and every time you come across a Prism, you will get an auto lose. You can't do anything. That's a, I don't know, 595 matchup, even harder maybe. So that's horrible. So yeah, I believe that if you are lucky enough to not get that many Prisms, he does really well against aggro decks. And he can hold his own against these lower decks too. So he should be
so you have
low tier A, high tier B, something like that.
Okay, so you have him in tier S if Prism didn't exist, because you think other than Prism he has pretty good matchup spread across the board.
Yeah, but they are not that good to actually.
Like, he doesn't auto-win these other matchups, right? So, like, you still have to work in some of these other matchups. So you can't just, like, sacrifice your Prism matchup and take wins everywhere else. But it's good matchups, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you have good matchups with small advantages to you. But the Prism matchup is so abysmal that I don't think it pays off. I think you will probably fail on Swiss if you have bad luck or there's a lot of Prisms in your meta, and it's almost impossible to win a tournament.
It also makes
there will always be.
You need maybe you need a little bit of luck to win the tournament. If you go into the top 8 and you don't face any Prism, you have a chance. But if you face Prism, you're out of the top.
Even then, the deck is good, but as we said, it doesn't have this auto wins or really high win percentages against other decks. It's good, it's consistent, but it doesn't win so hard.
Yeah, but at the end, these heroes from Welcome to Race are really good because they have a lot of consistency with the 3-block, but at the end the mechanics are a bit old. So maybe when you do a balance and say, okay, for example, all him versus Bravo. Bravo is more consistent, but doesn't have anything new.
Right.
Can I say it in Spanish? I don't know.
You guys can use Spanish. That's fine.
Yeah. So, sí, las fortalezas. Que al final Olgim tiene fortalezas que ningún héroe del juego tiene, pero Bravo Bravo hace cosas muy parecidas al resto de personajes.
Yeah, he's saying that Olgim has his own advantages, things that only he can do, while Bravo plays like every other deck with more consistency.
That's fair.
Exactly. At the end, Olgim, for example, can prevent chip damage, but Bravo just have big attacks with big effects, and that's all.
Yeah.
So maybe it's simple. I don't know if being simple is good or bad in this situation.
So we're thinking about top of B or like lower A. So let's start off in A here. Let's start off in A here, and then we'll see based on where the other heroes land how we want to move him. The statement auto loses to Prism I think is going to be repeated a lot here. So just so because we're going to do that, how about we talk about Prism next? Is Akuma here? Is your audio fixed, Akuma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Akuma, where do you have Prism as our resident Prism player? Like where if you obviously you took Prism and won a Battle Hardened, so is Prism an S tier hero for you?
Some TRS, I think.
Okay.
Because have a lot of free wins versus, for example, the Guardians.
Dorinthia, yeah, the Wizards.
Yeah. The Ice Champions and the Guardians and Dorinthia is 3 wins for Prism.
Mm-hmm.
I think she don't have bad matchups versus no bad matchups, but free.
You can use Spanish if you want to.
Yeah, como que no pierde automáticamente contra ninguno de los mazos del tier. Sí.
Yeah, she has auto wins, but she doesn't have auto loses. She always has a reasonable percentage of winning any matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like even her bad matchups are like not so bad that she automatically loses.
Yeah.
So I think this hero is just when you sit down and you flip up your hero, this hero just automatically wins so many matchups that I think it's just so insane right now where you can sit down and like you flip over your hero and your opponent will just groan. Like that will just happen.
Yeah. The thing is that sorry.
Pablo? No, go ahead.
I think that Prism, the only thing that make her being broken, in my opinion, is that it tags you with actions, and any other deck in the game tags you with actions. So maybe these kind of decks like Guardians, Dorinthia, the mages, for example, if they can't deal with the auras, they automatically lose the game. And the thing is that the heralds, the phantasmal attacks, are exactly the opposite. Are attacks that make a lot of damage with really crazy effects, and it's all focused on using attacks. So the thing is that I think the deck can adapt really well to the metas because they can swap between being aggressive or being control.
Yeah. So
the main thing is that you're bringing both decks in one when you're sending into a tournament, because each game with your sideboard you can decide if you want to go more aggressive approach with your heralds or a more control style with the auras, and that's a good point about the deck. And I also think that the fact that it has so many options, it's a deck that offers you many possibilities during the game, many different paths. And that's pretty good because it allows for really good plays. We will later talk about, Fate. And Fate will be a good deck, but it doesn't allow you to switch your plans mid-game.
Yeah, you can be aggro or more aggro.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Prism and S tier right now. I agree. I think for whatever Renan said, Prism and S tier makes the most sense. I guess my when we put more heroes in S tier, we'll see where she is in S tier. But until then, let's since you brought up Fi, let's talk about Fi. This is this hero I think has made the biggest impact on the meta. This is the most fresh meta we've ever seen in Flesh and Blood as far as I understand it. I haven't been playing as long as you guys, but we have a brand new meta because there's 2 heroes living legended, and then we have 3 brand new heroes into the meta. So that's a 5 hero swap, right? Like that's never happened anywhere close to that.
And 2 of them, I believe, are really competitive out of the gate.
Yeah,
so that's a novelty too. Tain was really broken out of the gate, but he was broken. He wasn't healthy or balanced.
So if we're
Fate has a bit.
Oh, you have him in B, okay.
Oh no! I believe he will be the best of the A tier.
Okay. So you don't have him breaking into S tier, so you think that you do have to work. You need to get a little bit lucky in your matchups. Is that because you think he's just so one-dimensional, and if people are prepared for you, you'll have a bad day?
He has a horrible matchup into anything that disrupts your plan or taxes you. Ice heroes in particular, any card that erase phase, cards that force you to discard. There's a ton of things that completely destroy your plans, and his good turns aren't that good. He can hit a really good turn in one of his rounds, combining Art of War and these Hammers, but his normal turns isn't that good. He doesn't have a way to threaten Mask of Momentum as good as Katsu. And I believe he has a bit of the Starbow syndrome. It's a really new, really cheap, really good deck, and really
I
easy to
think so.
pilot.
Yeah.
So I believe he has an overrepresentation because of that, and people will see it after the first tournament. It's my opinion. I believe this is a hot take, right? Because we have seen a lot of people playing him during the Euro Champ tournament.
And
Those
he was
are
at the
some
top
of
tables a lot too. So
these are some of the best players in Europe. So I don't think they are doing anything wrong. But I believe he's been overrepresented.
Do you guys have anything to
I
add?
will say maybe the weakest point of Fi is that the deck is. I don't know how to say it. It's like it's
You can say it in
honest.
Spanish. That's fine.
No. It's not in Spanish. It's like I don't find a way to say it in Spanish or English. It's like it's honest. It's every card has 3 go again or 4 go again with a weak or a weak effect. It's like the deck performs well, but in maybe in the future if one new hero appears and make more damage, just the niche of Pi is gone, because the only thing that the deck does is damage.
Yeah. So I guess what you're trying to say is, I mean, you said it. The deck is too fair. Is really what it is.
Yeah, it's too fair. Exactly.
So the 4 of us played a game called Legend of the Five Rings. So an example would be, early on, you had Scorpion and you had your Dragon decks. Like all these decks that were being played that were doing really well. They all had this advantage of like doing something unfair. They were able to play on a different spectrum, or they were able to break the game in some way.
Yeah, and you when you play against Fi, you know exactly what he's going to do on his turn.
It's just damage, right?
Yeah, it's just damage. So it's like, okay, he's holding 4 cards. He's going to do like something between 12 and 15 damage.
Yeah.
Maybe he does Art of War or Stubby are the turns that make the game different, but in general, when you play against him, you know exactly what he's going to do every turn.
That makes sense.
So the deck, I think the deck is really well. I don't know if it could be an S or a high A. I don't know. Maybe it's the best one, but I think that the deck performs really well in the meta, and that's what I would say it's an S tier, but I'm not really sure. What do you think, Akuma?
Is the new Red Briar?
Okay.
You remind the Red Briar. It's the same gameplay. I think it's a higher A. But because it's a deck who all players can play with this and do top 8.
Okay.
I think.
So you're saying there's not a lot of ways to really express your skill either in this deck. Not that it, Not that you don't need. Sorry. Not that you don't need skill to play this deck, but the amount of skill expression that you have playing the deck is lower. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
No, but I think it's more like a deck building choice more than a gameplay choice. So you have to build the deck. You have to build the deck with one plan, and the thing is that when you execute that plan during the game, you cannot move out of the line. The only thing you can do is do wherever you want to do.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are all okay top of A then? Just kind of.
What's your opinion?
I think he's either top of A or bottom of S. I agree with a lot of the things that you have said as somebody who has tested a lot of Fi. Since he came out, definitely have found that he is kind of lacking in he doesn't have any disruption. His literal plan is to attack you and then hope not to be disrupted so he can keep attacking. Definitely found that he has some matchups that are really unfavorable, like against Lexi, for instance. Dorinthia are two really horrific matchups for him. I know you guys were saying that Katsu actually has a good matchup in Defy because Katsu presents more on hits. I
And he can-
did find him being able to do well into Oldhim to be surprising. I know a lot of Oldhim players
Oh, yeah.
were not really sold on it, but you know that's definitely something that Fi is able to do. Fi definitely is able to beat Oldhim.
Oh, because he can force a really big turn.
Yeah, you can just force a really big turn, and then you can and then eventually you'll chip enough damage after your huge turn.
Yeah, it's funny because being fair is bad against it's bad for him. So it's like, yeah, I can block 1 here and 2 here, and it's like, okay, go for 3 every time.
Yeah.
Bravo will perform better because every card blocks 3, you know?
For sure. Okay, so on to this next hero. We have Dorinthia, who I think with the new cards from the dual decks has gotten a huge boost to Dawnblade Dorinthia. So for this tier list, I believe that Dawnblade Dorinthia is the best version of her. You know, if you play Axes or Sabres Dorinthia, you know, go for it. Unfortunately, this tier list is going to be, you know, in the context of this Dorinthia playing Dawnblade. So
I have no doubt about it. And Downblade is the best build right now.
Yeah.
By far.
So I think that Dorinthia is an A tier hero, personally.
Yeah.
I think Dorinthia, you know, is another one of those heroes.
Could be an S tier.
Yeah, correct. I think Dorinthia is really strong. She has the advantage of being from Welcome to Wraith, being warrior, so all her cards block for 3. The 9 cards she has been gotten from the dual decks with Glistening, Run Through, and Blade Flash really gave a huge boost to her deck. I know from what, you know, some of my friends were saying in Welcome to Wraith meta or earlier metas, when you play Dorinthia, your go again, other than Glint the Quicksilver, was all face up. So if you didn't play a pre action, then your opponent just knew they could block. And then, you know, it was just Twinning Blade. But now with these reactions that give go again, you have a lot more play to do a lot of cooler plays. And I think that this hero, you know, like these heroes that don't block, like Fi, like Lexi, you know, they do have a hard time, you know, getting through a Dawnblade with 3-4 counters.
She also has a huge advantage in the front. She has a ton of block in her equipment. So that's pretty good against some of the aggro decks that want to finish the game really fast. Equipment is huge to stop some of hits during those races.
Yeah, she's probably got the best armor in the game. Maybe Oldhim has better. So she's either like 1 or 2 now that Chain isn't here anymore.
Well, maybe Levia could.
Oh sure, yeah. Levia can play Husky. Yeah.
I think we all agree that is the reason why Dorinthia is not in the S tier is Prism.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
what about Guardian matchups? So like you guys, I know you guys have both played Oldhim and Bravo before. How do the Guardian matchups go into Dorinthia? You know, a lot of decks do struggle because of attack reactions, but I know the Guardian decks play a good number of defensive reactions. You know, if Prism didn't exist anymore, would Dorinthia be able to get through like these staunch responses and these like big defensive reactions?
I believe in the past she couldn't get over the defense reactions of the Guardians, but the access to Tuning Blade with the new Go Again cards that you mentioned gives a new dimension to the matchup. You cannot risk your really big defense reaction for for a Listening Steel Blade to get hit with a Tuning Blade.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
that could lose you the game on the spot.
Yeah.
I believe
you use your whole hand and then they basically go again with a Twinning Blade and then you're kind of out of the water.
So I believe we wouldn't need to play that matchup. It can probably go either way.
But you think that if Prism didn't exist, Dorinthia has a fair shot into the Guardians? Because basically that's my stance. Because the Guardians are being held down by Prism. So if you know these other decks have matchups into Guardians, then the meta it will be good, right? You don't want to have Prism leave and then have just Prism's spot be replaced by Guardians. Like that's not necessarily a healthier meta either.
Yeah. I think nobody wants Oldhim to be the best deck in the game.
Well, maybe
Blitz vibes.
Yeah, maybe Michael Hamilton does.
So yeah, I believe she will have a shot into the Guardians.
Okay.
I don't know
Anyway,
if she will have an advantage or if she would lose, but it will be close.
In the current meta, do you think she is better than Bravo or Fi, or do you think she's worse than either? Like, where in A tier do you think she is?
I believe she's better than Bravo because she has a better matchup into some of the most popular decks, mainly into Fae, and I believe she's that bit worse than Fae because of the auto lose against Prism.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And you know, Fi has a in my experience, Fi has a very good Prism matchup. You know, it's not auto win, but it's you know, I would say it's you know, quite Fi favored, but you know, Prism still can win as Akuma. I'm pretty sure Akuma beat a Fi in the finals of the Battle Hardened, right?
no, it was on a Road to National, I think.
Oh, it was Road to
On
National.
on the top 8, right?
Yeah.
On the top 8, he beat us.
No, in the last round of the
On
On the Swiss.
Of Swiss.
On the Swiss.
Swiss, that was
yeah,
it.
of Swiss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So,
Anyway, I think Dorinthia, anyway, against the Guardians, I think it has a really favorable matchup against Bravo, but I'm not really sure about Olhim. Because Olhim, the problem you have with Olhim is that you can't go into fatigue, because sometimes when you play with Dorinthia, you can just poke and the opponent just block with 3 or 4 cards if they want to deny for gaining counters on the downblade. Or maybe you can deck out on a long game.
sure.
But the problem against Holhim is that as they prevent damage with the air reaction on the crown, sometimes the game turns really long and maybe you cannot end the game on time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I expect if Oldham becomes very, you know, if a lot of these decks that Prism is keeping down enter the meta, I do expect a lot more games to end in draws. You know, we'll talk about the other new hero, Dromai. I know a lot of the Dromai games have been going to time also.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. This is a spicy hero. I know you guys were really hyping up Katsu in you have the Sunflower Samurai Invitational happening right now. And Pablo was telling me about how he saw some really cool Katsu play. So lay it on me, Pablo. Why am I playing Katsu instead of Fi? And is it you know is it because I don't own any of the new cards, or like give me a reason?
I believe he has a better matchup into aggro decks and a worse matchup into defensive decks, and I believe all the defensive decks are being held down by Prism. So maybe you could try to play Katsu. He got a really powerful new card in Take the Tempo and in Double Strike.
Okay, so if I am going to my Road to Nationals and my meta is really aggro and has fewer slow decks, right? So you're saying Katsu is a better choice then because he has a better matchup into the aggro decks and worse into the slow decks, right?
Yeah.
So
you could play him, but his bad matchups are really bad. Like we talked about how Faye could win against Olhim.
Yeah.
You will never win against an Olhim with Katsu.
Oh, it's that bad. Okay, I've never seen the matchup and I've never played it, so it's that bad, huh?
It's really cool because all the Katsu gameplay is based around his Kodachis.
Oh right, doesn't Earth React just stop both?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With one card, with one card, and yeah.
Or he can stop them with Crown and Rampart.
Oh, and
so
Shield.
yeah, he will always.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's fair. So where do you guys have him then? Is he then in B tier because of that? Like I don't see how Katsu could ever beat Dorinthia.
No, I believe he's a B tier. He's extremely neat.
The thing is that it's a meta call. It's not good or bad on the meta, depending on your meta, I think.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to top 4, you know, right now everyone who's going to RTNs this weekend, you know, if there are any next weekend, everyone's just trying to get to top 4 so they can qualify for their country's nationals. So I mean, if your meta is very full of like, you know, Rune Blades and Fi, you know, Katsu could be a great choice, you know, to try and counter that meta, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, Akuma, do you have any opinions on Katsu?
I think the problem with Katsu is he have a bad matches versus tier A heroes.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. It's hard to be placed higher if you cannot beat the heroes that are above you.
Yeah. I think it's bad versus Guardians and Dorinthia maybe, but but for example, Faye have better matches versus these champions, and for this ¿cómo se dice motivo? For these reasons, is better Faye than Katsu in this meta.
That makes sense. Okay. So moving on to our next Welcome to Wraith hero, we have Reinar, who I don't know. I think this hero sucks, but I'm willing to be proven wrong. But as somebody who has played competitive card games for over 2 decades, the concept of having it is RNG, but obviously when you build your Reinar deck, you can build with that in mind, so you can control that. But you have rolling dice, you have discarding random cards. Like this is not the hero for me. Like and I know some people are Reinar diehards, and don't let me say anything about your hero. Like I just cannot do it.
Dude,
you have a Reinar diehard in here, so.
Is it Daniel?
Daniel is my favorite hero.
Excellent. So in Welcome to Wraith, when the game started, you were playing Reinar and Pablo was playing Bravo.
I think they started with well, no, they started with Monarch.
Okay.
I started with Tales of Aria, but I think the thing with Reinar is that the deck performs really well against control and slow decks, but the fucking priests are always there, moving the meta into aggro, so you cannot play this champion in this hero on these metas. The thing is that Runeblaze in general, maybe Faye and these kind of decks perform really well against Reinar. So the thing you want to do is intimidate and make your opponent don't
yeah, and if the meta doesn't want to block anyway, then who cares, right?
Yeah.
It's like your good turns are like 8, 10, 12. Maybe a good turn with Blue-Ras are 20 damage, but 20 damage is almost the average for Runeblades with a full hand. So
Yeah. What would you... Okay, if I'm a Reinar player and, I want a chance at my local meta, like, what is your local meta gotta look like for you to bring Reinar? Like, in Spain. If you're going to a Road to Nationals this weekend in Spain, what does that meta have to look like for you to be like, I am taking Reinar?
I will say it's something... I think the only reason why it's not a D is because Azalea exists.
Oh, okay. So D is going to be reserved for a very special hero. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say it's a C because I think the S tier decks perform really well against Reinar. Maybe Priest is favorable. It's not an auto win, but it's favorable for him.
Okay.
But in general, Runeblades, maybe Faye, Bravo is not that easy. Dorinthia, we will see.
What is Reinar missing because like he has some reasonable armor, like scab skins, like even without the attacks, they block for 3. He has his cards block for 3. Like what would make Reinar competitive? So, or is the hero doomed? Like is the hero just doomed?
The thing what I think is that the deck is something like Prism. The deck has 2 ways to be played. You can play it with Romping Club, which is the 200 weapon, and you can play a value game, blocking with cards and doing damage with just 2 cards, for example.
Sure.
You can just block 6 and do a swing big for 8. That is really good for Unveiler. It's really good, but you can play that play style against aggro decks, and it's not a really good play style in my opinion. And the thing that Reinar makes different, the thing that makes the champion unique is to playing with claws. That is the 100 weapons.
Yeah, so you're claws. You're a claws person, not a club person.
Yeah. I absolutely love the claws, but the thing why I like it is because when you play against defensive decks, you can just go full aggro and make it play different. You're running your resources because you are discarding your cards, and you don't have a lot of turns to end the game, but you can end the game because you are intimidating cards and you are making him taking decisions because they can block with the cards they want. If you're, for example, with Runeblade, you're playing with Viscera, and you have Mordecai, Shrill, I know,
Maurin's
P3,
guys?
and
Yeah.
Shrill, and I intimidate the other card, you cannot block. And maybe the other card is not good for
Yeah.
that turn. And it's like, okay, you have something that is unique on that matchup. But the
That's
problem
fair.
is that with Close, you can do 14 damage doing Intimidate, and the rest of the decks do 18 damage without Intimidate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Okay.
believe his last cards are pretty good, though. The ones that draw on this card and cannot defend. I believe
Yeah.
he's missing more 6-power blue cards.
What's that one card? There's one that when you discard a 6, you draw 2 cards and gain an action point. It's like Blood Rush Roll, I think?
Blood Rush.
Yeah, that card is insane.
Yeah, that card is absolutely insane. It's the best card of the deck so far.
Yeah. All right.
So-
So this hero. Okay. So real quick, just if you're still watching, this video, people. C tier does not mean this hero is unplayable. It literally just means if you were to take Reiner to a tournament, you are going to have to work harder, play tighter, tech more, get luckier than the heroes above him. That's all the tiers mean is all these heroes could top 4, top 8, win. It just depends on, how much extra variables you'll need to make that happen.
Yeah. So for me, I would say that the problem with Reiner is Prism. The problem is that
because Prism
makes
changes
all
the
the
meta.
meta to be aggro. So
Okay.
as you have a good matchup against Prism, but you have a bad matchup against the rest of the decks that are on the S tier. So that's the only reason why Reiner is not a good deck.
So what I'm hearing is when Prism...
The hero is really good.
Well, yeah, what I'm hearing is when
really
Prism Living Legends, Reiner will be S tier hero. You heard it here first, folks. Calling winner. Daniel Correas has proclaimed this. All right, so
I had a chance on the team.
yeah, you could have played Reiner. A lot of people were playing Reiner on Blitz, and you chose not to.
Yeah, someone had to sacrifice for playing.
Yeah. All right, so
someone had to play 40 turns every matchup.
Yeah. Speaking of Azalea tier, let's talk about Azalea, or Azalea, however you want to pronounce her name. I know I have a friend. We have a friend who only in Constructed plays Azalea. Shout out to my friend Sebastian Kleiner, Widwin, who got his top 8 with Azalea at his Road to Nationals. So big props to him. But this hero sucks, man. I don't know. I think Reiner is bad. But this hero, I read this hero a couple times. I had 2 things when I first started playing this game. I first read Chain, and then I read Azalea, and the excitement I got from reading Chain and what he did is the opposite I got from reading Azalea, because I was just this hero doesn't do anything.
I love how Azalea has to do 7 different things in her turn to use her ability, know the card on top of her deck, because he has flipped the card face up with the headpiece, and then the card gains dominate, and then she uses the bow and draws a card, and at the end of the day she attacks you for 7.
It's so tough. Yeah, and then you have heroes like Starvo who just show you crayons, and then they attack you for 11 plus 4.
Yeah.
With a ludicrous on hit.
And the funniest part is that if anything of all that Pablo said goes wrong, you do nothing.
That's tough.
That's the worst part.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this. I do know that there are people out there who really like to play Azalea, and that is their hero. That's awesome. I love people sticking to their champions. We come from L5R.
We respect you.
Yeah, exactly. We come from
L5R
where people stuck with shitty clans for so long, and they just kind of stuck through it. So respect to you guys. When Azalea becomes top tier, y'all are the original ones. All right. So moving on from Azalea tier. We have another hero that is very represented by diehard people. I know Ethan Van Sant is the Levia cheerleader himself.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Levia? So I know a lot of Levia decks I've seen have been running low blood debt to almost no blood debt, and are almost pseudo Reiner decks, but they have better armor. And then they have access to cards like Shadow Puppetry for Go again, etc.
she's the way the decks are going right now for her, she's almost equal to Reiner. She doesn't intimidate, but she has access to some few key cards. But I don't think she does anything to be put in the B tier or above.
Okay. Now, do you think? I mean, I know Daniel's gonna say no, but do you guys think that she's better than Reiner?
Obviously.
You think she's worse than Reiner, right?
That she's. It was really sad when we first saw the heroes from Monarch because Chain's ability is really good by himself, and then it also foils.
This hero has a blank hero. Like this hero's text box. You have to do something to only break even. There's no positive. It's just a break even.
That's it. And the payoffs aren't that great either. So yeah, I believe she's missing quite a few cards to be real. Yeah.
All right. So moving on to another Monarch hero who has not lived up to their counterpart. We have the Light Warrior Bolton, who I know Brendan at Arsenal Pass loves to point out how bad Bolton is. I know in the recent article for like the metagame, Bolton had no wins in weeks 1 or 2, and I think they're the only they're the only hero with no top 8 conversions. Even as Azalea also. So does that mean that he just automatically has to be in this tier?
He's really bad right now.
Because there's
I would say that this is one of the most beloved champions in the whole Spanish community.
okay.
When nobody was playing him, everyone and their mother was playing him in Road to Nationals and Armories here. Like I have played so many games against Bolton Sabers, the combo version, that I was.
Bolton.
I believe I have played more games against him than I have played against Star Wars. So
it's easy to adapt to the meta, Pablo, right?
that's pretty horrific.
What?
I don't think he's any good right now.
So I mean, Akuma, you were laughing about Bolton. What's your snippet about Bolton? What do you think about him as a hero?
What's in this meta is bad because the tiers, the high tiers, can defeat Bolton easy, and I think actually maybe es, ¿cómo diría? Que estaría en el tier de Azalea perfectamente.
Sí,
he should be in the Estaleta tier.
Yeah,
I believe his game plan can be really screwed up by some new cards that destroy equipment.
I think this hero would be better if he had ways to charge his soul that didn't cause him to discard cards. Like I think the fact that he has to just basically he has to like 2-for-1 himself on every card he plays to get his like mechanic going, and I think that like just like is such a detriment. Like if you read Chain and say you get extra cards, and then you read Bolton and see you get less cards, it's just easy to see why this hero is struggling.
It's also great to see that after spending I don't know half of his deck charging soul and then releasing his combo also consumes out of cards on his deck, putting them into himself.
Yeah.
His soul. So yeah, it was pretty easy to fatigue him, even if he got to the combo part of his deck.
That makes sense. So real quick, the reason I have him above Azalea is Azalea had 10 players play her in weeks 1 and 2. She had 1 top 8. Bolton had 9 players with 2 top 8s. So so that's what makes him go above Azalea.
Oh.
Anyway, imagine this scenario. You are Bolton and you say, okay, I have the full combo. So to do the full combo, you need a charger, you need a card to put into the soul, and you need 2 Lumin Ascension, at least, and 1 card to pitch, right? Because the globes require one pitch, right, guys?
Yeah.
So you need your full hand, and you are playing against 5, and you're on 25, and he say, okay, I use the stupid. What do you do?
Yeah,
do you defend?
You can't do it anymore.
The thing is that you're out.
Yeah.
He's going to kill you. and now against Prism he can tax you with actions, so he can use Arc-like Sentinel, so you need additional setup. And against Rune Blades, they can beat you so fast that you cannot do the combo, or you have to do the combo as fast as you draw it. You can without
You're
setup.
also leaking. You're also leaking all the arcane damage because he's not running.
Yeah, because his
everywhere.
equipment has to be very specific for the combo, right?
Yes.
All right.
And the aggro version is not really good, I think.
All right, we've given him enough talking. Speaking of rune blades, let's cover the two rune blades. You know, one of our rune blades has left us, but you know the two remaining rune blades are no slouches. So let's talk about Briar first. We have green rune blade, or as I saw on Twitter, Elemental Ninja. So
with Elemental Kodachi, with Ninja Kodachi, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it definitely feels like Briar plays more like a ninja than a Runeblade. You know, like Chain and Viscera, I definitely feel that Runeblade, you know, attack, you know, cadence. Briar just like it felt like she just plays attacks and then sometimes just eventually attacks you with Rosetta.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Briar. Okay, so I will preface this by saying I am biased and I do not like Briar as a hero. I think Briar is wildly overrated. Every time I play against or with this hero, she never does anything impressive, and I don't get it. But I will you know, caveat that by saying Briar performs very well at tournaments, and I cannot argue against results. So, do you guys think... So, if it was up to me, I would have Briar at the top of A tier, personally. However, I would understand if you guys think that she's an S tier.
I will make a slight spoiler. I would say I would only put 2 heroes into the S tier, and she's not.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right. Daniel, what do you think?
I think both Runeblades perform really well, but I think that Briar has something different to Fi. At the end, it's similar, but they have a thing that make her different to Fi is that you can adapt. You can, when you have the
Briar can block
Earth,
also. That's a big difference. That's a huge
when
difference.
you have the embodiment of Earth, you can block 3 or maybe 4, depending on the cards.
Sift
you
was a
can
huge
play
add.
different. You can play with a red version with a lot of red attacks, 0 costers, and also you can play with the channel mount. So I think that it's a deck that can adapt really well to any matchup. So I don't think it's OP because the deck has a lot of favorable matchups. I think it's maybe the lower S tier because it's a deck that doesn't have any bad matchup, in my opinion.
So you think that Briar doesn't have any bad matchups, but doesn't have any amazing matchups either? She just is able to play into anything. So that's
yeah. She has tools to play against every hero in the game.
Okay.
So maybe it's not a specialist. It's more like a toolboxer, I think.
Okay. So Sergio, what do you got for me? You know, 2 people are saying that she doesn't belong here, and 1 person saying she's at the bottom of S tier. What is your opinion on Briar?
That Briar is similar like Fi, but with more chance to have a bad turns. I think Fi is more stable.
Stable.
More stable. But Briar have more chance to have a high roll turn.
Okay.
Then I think both stay in the same tier, high A.
Okay. Now,
no S tier. Yeah.
Do you have? So I think Briar is above 5 because I think Briar can block, which is a big difference. Like I think being able to block in this meta is huge, and I think that she has higher upside with Channel Mount Heroic in some matchups.
She can win some matchups just by playing Channel Mount Heroic and following up with
Force of Nature.
Force of Nature.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's a really big brain play. Just draw your cards in the correct order.
All right. So I mean, like that's where I stand. You know, I'm glad I don't feel crazy now. This is the hero that I am the most high on. You know, I'm not gonna. You know, I have been playing Viscera all road to national season. I was practicing Fi, and then I started playing some Viscera lists, and I'm like, oh man, this feels closer to Chain. I'm really liking these purple cards. I think Viscera is an S tier hero personally. I think Viscera has a lot of. I think Viscera does not have as many. So if Prism is queen of like, 90-10 matchups where she just gets free wins, I think Viscera sits, all of his matchups sit in the 40-60 range, where either he's slightly unfavored or slightly favored in all his matchups.
Yeah. He has no really hard counter, and that's pretty good.
I think just the ability for mixed damage, a lot of especially in the current meta being very aggressive, it's really hard for, these decks to be blocking arcane damage. He has the ability to play on lower card hands better than both Fi and Briar. Viscera can function perfectly fine on 3 cards. Viscera works on 2 cards because in some matchups, like against Guardian, when they hit you with the big effects, you can block and then play like a Read the Runes or a Rune Blood Incantation to just like do setup turns. I feel like he has the most flexibility in his deck building and his game plans, personally.
His sugar hand with Rattlebones.
A blue Rattlebones and a Swarming is just like chef's kiss. That hand feels so good to play.
Yeah, the thing is that when you play against the matchups like 5, for example, you can. It's not a problem to block with 1 card because almost your best turn is just play Marvin Skies, Riddles of the Skullhorn with.
Yeah, it's like Mauvrion, Shrill, or Spellblade Assault, and then Rosetta. Like that's like you can do that every single turn of the game, and you will be very happy.
Yeah, and you have 1 card set on your arsenal, and as soon as you draw maybe more the Tide or something like that, it's like, okay, I don't have to block this turn, and I do more damage like you. So, I mean, it's like when with the Starbow, it's not someone tweet that it's like playing Viscera is like playing Starbow, and it's like, okay, instead of Ice, Earth, and Lightning, you have to draw Blue, Maurion.
I think it was Isaac who tweeted.
Yeah, it was from Isaac Rutter, or it was mentioned
what I think it's like Starbow in the way that what you want to do is the most effective hero doing that thing, being fair. Is the best one.
Yeah. It's like
he can block 3, and the plan with 4 cards is the best plan of the game.
Oh yeah,
if you
for
play
sure.
Yellow Maurion, for example, you play Yellow Maurion with Yellow Shrill, let's say, you have 6 plus 3 runes plus Rosetta.
Yeah.
That is 14. 14 plus 3 block with the other card is 17. The average is something between 15 and 18. And 19 maybe.
Yeah, so your average is near the top, and that's with 2 yellows, right? Like, I mean, if you've ever attacked a Fi with a red Shrill and a red Shrill, red Mauve and red Shrill, they really do not like that.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I think it's an S tier. It's not Briar, in my opinion, is better for a turn. It's maybe has higher chances to win a tournament, but Viscera is I think the most stable deck in the game.
Yeah. For me, Viscera is the most consistent. That's what I found when I was playing both of them. I found that Briar had higher highs for sure, and I think that Briar definitely has that ability. I just do not like Viscera can brick also. Like, don't get me wrong, Viscera I think also has the ability for their hand to not work, but with cards like Rattlebones and the synergy.
Become the Arknight.
Yeah, become the Arknight.
Yeah, but
your synergies with Rune Chance, you can take yourself out of a bad turn pretty easily.
But worst case, you can block 12 and do another turn.
Yeah, or like block 9
block
and
3.
Yeah, block 9 in Arsenal, or like block 9 and then make a Rune Chant. Because you have cards like Rune Flash, Amplify the Arknight that do work with Rune Chants that carry over. If you're playing Meet and Greet or things like Consuming Volition, having a Rune Chant ready for next turn can lead to some big turns.
Yeah, worst case, you have a pitch tree and the consuming, and you say, okay, rune chant with the globes, and for 1 I attack for 4, 1 arcane, and discard 1 card.
Yeah,
and it's a good turn.
Yeah, exactly. Like in an aggro matchup, that is just like so strong. All right, so Okuma, do you have any last thoughts on Viscera? Do you agree, or do you think he also is top of A tier?
I agree with the comments of Dani. I think so, and I think it's the most stable deck in the meta, and it's like play Starbow.
So Pablo, you said that you only have 2 heroes in S tier. So if these are the 2 heroes, who do you have at top of S tier?
I personally hate Prism with all my heart. If anyone doesn't know that by now, so just out of spite, I would put Viscera first.
Okay, well, what about you, Danny?
I will say Viscera is the best deck in the game.
Okay. Akuma's gonna say Prism, right? You have to say Prism.
The Viscera is the king of the meta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. I don't think this is wrong. I personally actually think Prism is the current best deck, and the reason that I think Prism is top of S tier is if we're using our metric of how much work you have to do to win games, I think Prism offers you wins with the least amount of work. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, where is it, 5, 6, 7. Like you have almost 8 or 9 free wins in a large tournament. You know what I mean? Like that's why I think that Prism is actually the best deck. Oh, not maybe she has worse matchups on the other side of it, but I think that the ability to sit down and like rounds 1 to 3 just get 3 free wins quickly is huge.
Yeah.
As Viscera, you will have to.
You'll still have to work. Yeah. Even if you're favored, you can still lose those games. But like, your deck is consistent and you'll probably win. But like, you still have to play the games. Prism, you just like, all right, here's 2 auras. Oh wait, you can't actually interact with these anymore, and then they just fall so far behind.
I also think that Prism has another slight edge that is pretty good to her. That is, it forces decisions your opponent, and many people doesn't know how to effectively deal with both heralds or auras.
That's fair.
That's pretty good too. That sometimes you just see someone lose to himself in hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Prism at the top of S, and I think on the basis of our tier list of like how we defined our tiers, I think Prism is actually the best hero.
As I said, it's just out of spite.
For sure. Don't get me wrong. Like obviously, I'm playing Viscera. I'm totally for it, but I do think that just the concept of free wins is too powerful. Speaking of free wins, Pablo, you played Kano at Madrid. How many free wins did you get?
Well, I don't know if we can say that I played Kano.
Did you play Kano or did Kano play you?
Nobody knows. I sat down and started activating his ability, and this is a roller coaster of emotions. I didn't know if I was going to win or lose each game. That was quite an experience. But yeah, Kano is probably really weak right now. People won't be so easy to catch up without Arcane Barrier because there's another wizard in the meta.
Yeah, I think Kano had 2 issues going into this. One, there's another wizard in the meta, like you said, and I actually think that wizard is pretty good. I think that wizard is definitely like a reasonable hero in the meta. So you just have people playing AB3 again, and I think Red Oasis Respite really hinders what Kano was doing before, where they were trying to set up OTKs or like big burst turns around Ether Wildfire. The card just parking an Oasis Respite in your arsenal with AB3. It's just so hard for Kano to power through that against decks that have the blues.
And Prism being the best.
Yeah, Prism being the best deck, and then also
for him.
Yeah, also decks like Viscera can play AB3 and then also still be aggressive because Viscera functions on 3-card hands. No problem functions, and also plays quite a few blues. Like Briar and Phi definitely play way less blues. Like they're like down in the 18 to 15 range, whereas Viscera is up at 22, 23 blues. So it's so much easier for him to play with AB.
Yeah.
So
also is a hero with 30 life. So maybe Briar and Phi can do a high roll, and maybe Viscera can do a high roll and just
kill you.
Force him to do the full combo and do an all-in to a win or lose. So the thing is that for example, you're a Kano and you're on 20 and he used the Stubby, you have to end the game at that turn.
Yeah.
You're done if not. And maybe if Rayar has a channel mon heroic for the last turn, with the first attack, maybe you have to think if you want to end the game doing all the Kano setup.
Oh yeah,
With the other welfare and all the stuff. So
we saw that at New Jersey, right? We saw that where the top seed Alexander Vor, I believe, lost to the Briar player because they just played Channel Mon heroic and did like 27 damage or something.
Yeah. And then you have 30 lives, so you are 10 lives off of any other matchups. And I think the game design is for 40 lives. So having 30 lives is a really hard handicap.
I think it was better in the old meta when you could. So example, if people aren't playing AB, you can kind of make up that life deficit by just getting free damage, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the
I'll
concept.
came back in a minute.
What did you say? Oh, you said you're right back. Okay. Akuma, do you have any opinion on Kano? I mean, do you guys think Kano is better than Reiner and Levia? Do you think he's worse? Like, where do we have Kano on this list?
I don't know. Maybe it could be something between a C+ or B.
So
maybe a
C
metacall
then?
option. Maybe a metacall option if you're crazy and you think that Prism is not going to be on your legal meta, but I will play other decks. So,
Okay.
I don't know, something between B and C.
I'm gonna put him on top of C. I also think he has a bad matchup in the Wizard Mirror. I think his matchup against Icelander is really bad. Because Icelander gets to play Alluvian Constellas, and then also with Frostbites and Channel Lake on your opponent's turn, it's brutal. Because she also gets to play at instant speed.
But you only have to play one action, so you can play one action and then play everything on instant.
Yeah,
That's your only chance to end the game.
Yeah. It's the thing is like if you play an action and then you and then you Kano and then they respond to both of those with Channel Lake Frigid, you have to keep going, but then you don't know what you're gonna hit. Yeah, it's a lot of questions. And you get a Frostbite. Yeah.
And remember, you need a level 2 Huge to be watching the game.
Oh
If you're
yeah.
something bad because everything goes on instant speed, and it's like every window has to be clear.
Yeah. No, thank you. But speaking of Icelander, we're reaching our end here.
Wait, I'm back.
Okay. So we put Kano in top of C tier real quick. I think that's fine.
That's
We'll save we'll talk about our next wizard here. So our next wizard is going to be Icelander, who I think is a really cool hero, and I think once Prism leaves, she will become the new control queen. I think she has all the tools, and I think she's super fun to play, and I think she fits the same thing that Prism is trying to do, in a healthier way. I actually think Icelander is closer to Prism than Dromai is.
I will say that I will say that Icelander is something more similar. Is more similar than to Alchim.
Oh, okay.
Maybe because it tried to tax you, and at the end you play less instead of blocking damage and making you do everything you want. The thing that it does is that deny you resources. And I think that's good for the game because you cannot play an all-in plan, just ignoring the fact that people just can disrupt you during the turns with the frostbites. And I think the only problem that Icelander has is that Prism exists because you cannot break the auras.
Oh yeah, this has got to be the worst matchup in the game. I think this is the actual worst matchup in the game. Like, even more than Bravo, even more than Dorinthia against Prism, I think Icelander versus Prism is like a 99-1 matchup.
Yeah.
You're giving a 1.
I don't know, but maybe the Prism player gets bored one day, in the middle of a match and concedes, right? Like, I don't know, like there's always that 1%.
She has other problems. I believe she will struggle against high blue count decks.
So like your Bravos, your Oldhams.
Yes.
So I actually think,
against them.
Well, so I think she's actually pretty good against the slow blue count decks because you have the frost hex setup. So there's two plans with Icelander right now, right? The first plan is against aggressive decks, you kind of disrupt them and then just chip them down. And then against slow decks, you actually have this, you bring in your Frost Hex packages, and you just try and put 2 Frost Hexes or 3 Frost Hexes, and then just kill your opponent with Storm Striders.
She will probably be Bolton, because Bolton cannot force that much damage. But Bravo can attack for more each round with his hammer, and probably the mid attacks.
Well, she kind of helps him pay for the hammer even if he didn't have the ability to, right? Because she taxes you so you can pitch multiple cards.
Yeah. And
do you think she is better or worse than Katsu?
I believe she's slightly worse. Because
slightly worse, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you,
Danny? She can lose to almost every deck if she fails a turn. That's pretty important too.
Yeah,
That's fair.
and I think the deck also requires a lot of practicing and reps.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You need to play the deck a lot, and it requires a lot of skill cap to play it. And also, it's as I said, I think it's a meta call option. I think it may perform really good against Rune Blades, but
yeah,
it's not
I
good
agree.
against Fight, Dorinthia, Bravo, Prism.
I don't know if you guys know this. The new armor is so good against Viscera. The Alluvian Constellas. She just ABs with it and gets free 1 usage. It's really brutal.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good against Rune Blades because of that chest.
Yeah, the chest piece for sure makes that matchup so hard. And they have Storm Striders, which have AB too, so even Rosetta can't even stick in damage.
Yeah, but the thing is, as we said before, with Viscera, for example, his plan is using Pitch Tree, Shrill Skull Form, and Marine Skies, and just putting 1 Frostbite in the middle of the action can deny 4 damage.
Oh yeah, it ruins the whole turn, for sure.
Which is really, really huge, I think. And against Briar, he can deny 1 attack on the Channelmon heroic turn.
Yeah.
Because if every attack is red and you don't have any extra resource, just putting 1 Frostbite can be really painful for them. And don't say anything about playing 1 channel
Lake Frigid.
Channel Lake.
Yeah.
If you play a Channel Lake on the middle of the turn, you're just breaking the turn.
Well, it's actually even more brutal. So it does require knowledge of like your priority windows. But example, Embodiment of Earth breaks during the actual turn. So when the embodiment breaks, you can respond if they're on their Channel Mount Heroic turn. You can just respond to the embodiment of Earth breaking and play Channel Lake Frigid on their turn. So then they get a Frostbite and Channel Lake Frigid, and then it's just like, okay, well now I am wasting my whole Channel Mount Heroic turn.
Yeah, and also we'll stay for 1 more turn.
Yeah. Oh man, the interaction is so dumb. I hate it. All right. Moving on. Speaking of interactions and hating it, what do we think about Old Man here?
He's definitely an A tier. I think the deck is really similar to Bravo. He's better at defending and controlling the side effects, so I would put him at that higher. But he struggles against decks that are if the game gets long.
Say it one more time. Sorry, you started to cut out there.
That's sure.
You were cutting out. What were you saying? He struggles against what?
Oh, sorry. Decks that are better when the games get long.
That's fair.
If they have some kind of setup, or if they can find this powerful place, as you say, the Proskexis in Icelander, the Auras, in Prism, building up a lot of enchants in Serai, he can lose. Honestly, I thought all him would be even his really bad Prism matchup. I thought he could be an S tier when the format started. But then you saw how he can lose to Viscera, he can lose to Faye, and Briar can also get rough with multiple Channel Monk heroic turns. So I was a bit disappointed with him. Yeah.
How does original Bravo play into Oldhim? Is that Ultim
Um,
favored?
yeah.
Like, what do you think?
I think
that,
it's
that goes to time. Like, it's almost impossible to finish that game.
Oh, you
If-
think it'll just go to time? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I don't think unless one of you is going, to risk a lot, I don't think the game is going to be finished on time.
That's fair.
Because it would be a succession of you with a hammer time to act with one card and crown and my reaction. And,
Yeah.
it's not fun, and I don't know. Maybe OG Bravo can take this in the really really long run. I'm not sure either.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have much else to say about Oldhim other than I agree with Pablo that I feel like Oldhim, when people first saw this meta coming, they thought that maybe Oldhim was going to be better than he turned out to be.
I think the thing with Olhim is that the deck performs really well against. It should perform really well against aggro, and the thing is that Faye and Viscera work really well against him. And I think Briar hasn't been a positive matchup historically, because with Channel Mondero they can beat you. So I think it's a good deck, but not in this meta.
Okay,
I would
that's
say.
fair.
Maybe without Prism they can do an extreme deck building with extreme deck building choice, as such as they do on Blitz. They can play a lot of different reactions with the Oasis Respite and all the stuff to block, and maybe they can fatigue the decks.
What do you think about it? What do you think about aggressive Oldhim? Like, I know, like you just play more on hits. Like, you still have access to cards like you still have access to Oakenold, which is a really messed up card. You can play the Guardian, Crush effects, Spinal, and everything. So
Yeah.
like, is that another option? On some turns you just play disruptive things, and then on some turns against the aggro decks you just take an off turn, and then you start trying to chain together these on hits.
The thing is that I don't find a reason to play aggressive Olhim again versus Bravo, because I think Bravo makes everything better, because it has Dominate naturally.
Yeah, that's fair.
He can just pay 2 to do Dominate, and the thing that maybe Oakenol is a little bit overrated, because when you play it against Starbo, the thing is that card was cheating, because when you play Oakenold, at the end you're pitching blue, you're using the Oakenold, and you're fusing with 2 cards, and you're putting 1 card on the arsenal. At the end you're wasting 1 card, because you're keeping 1 card in your hand. But the thing is that that's when you play it with Holhim. But the thing is, when you play it with the Starbo,
You get to swing your hammer.
you had to
also.
go again,
Yeah.
and you can use the hammer and put 1 card on the arsenal. So the card looked absolutely broken. But on Olhim, I don't think that card is better than Spinal Crash or Crippling Crash, for example. Because at the end you're paying 9 and paying 1 card, and that's almost exactly the same that Bravo do. And also the weapon is better, and the access to Dominate make the aggro guarding cards better, in my opinion.
That makes
So
I
sense.
wouldn't say.
maybe endless winter may be a thing, but I don't know.
I
if
know
it's
Pablo. I know
enough.
Pablo thinks that that Endless Winter is not a very good card.
Yeah. I don't think Anotos is better than Winter's Wave. I believe Winter's Wave is much better than Anotos. And maybe not for forcing damage, it's a better overall. And yeah, Endless Winter, while it's not a bad card, it usually isn't a really good card. But yeah, in the correct meta, I can't play it, I guess. I haven't been playing Ultimate that much, to be honest. It's a pretty.
He's boring, right?
Let's say it's the funniest deck in the game, because you're using your cards almost the 100% of the time every round.
Sure, yeah. You are doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's the most worthy deck on price playtime
Yeah, APM. You better have that high APM.
radio.
Yeah. All All right. Speaking of high APM, let's talk about dash. So predominantly in the current meta, I am seeing basically nothing but boost dash with Tekla Pounder and the boost attacks. Where do we think dash is right now?
I think it's a B tier.
Oh, okay. Do you think dash is better or worse than the other two B tier heroes?
Maybe like Slender.
Like below or above?
The same.
A lo mejor por arriba o por debajo.
Más o menos igual.
What do you think? What do you think, Danny and Pablo? Do you think that dash is better or worse than
I think maybe worse like Slender, but in the same tier.
In the same tier, okay.
I think Dash doesn't do anything better than other A or B heroes at the moment.
I see boost dash as just bad Fi at the moment.
Yeah, it's like if you want to play Bust, you're going to play Fi because Fi is better. If you want to play defensive, you're going to play Bravo or any of the deck. So the only reason to play Dash over any other deck is that it has a good matchup against Prism. Is the only reason.
So yeah, because of high octane, right? We were talking about action points.
Maybe that's why it's B tier instead of C tier. But because for the rest of the matchups, yeah. I don't know if it's really good against Runeblades because it doesn't have disruption. Maybe it has some items that prevent one damage or force you to play only one non-attack action card per turn and things like that.
This is
maybe you can play those cards, but I think the only reason is that you can beat Prism.
Okay.
¿Qué os decir?
Does have a positive points. For example, is better versus, for example, Olhim or Bravo, that for example F5, and is the natural counter of Prism. And I think it's the reason because I put in the tier B.
Because of her Prism matchup, she gains a lot of points there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And what do you think, Pablo?
I have not. I've not seen any dash in the current meta. I only know about dash in the previous meta. So I'm not really sure on Dash's Fi here, but theoretically, boost dash does not do anything that Fi isn't doing. It blocks better, but like if I'm playing vanilla attacks, I would like to play Fi instead.
I'm not sold on her at the moment. I thought she would be good in this meta. I haven't seen any deck that is worthy trying. I believe worth trying at this time. Yeah, she kind of falls in the middle of nowhere. She isn't good enough as an aggro, she isn't good enough as a control deck. And even while merging both of them together into one deck, it isn't as good as Prism. While you can play two really different playstyles and both of them are really good, I believe both of them fall short in this case. That's pretty sad for her.
Alright, we're going to save this hero for last because it's funny. Let's talk about Dromai. This hero, I think, has climbed the most. I feel like this hero, when everyone first started testing her, was down here in Azalea tier, and everyone was just like, this hero is bad, she's not good. And then I feel like as the weeks went on and people started to figure out how to build her and play her, she slowly started climbing the ranks. And at the moment, I think that she is the top of B tier, personally. But what do you guys think?
I really like her, but she has an horrendous Fi matchup. If I wasn't so played in this meta, I believe she could be an A tier hero. But because she has a really good matchup to some of the most played decks, but Ninja is horrible. They can get a 3 momentum on the dragons, and that is limiting her a lot because, as we saw, there's a lot of
on-hits. There's a lot of on-hits that are really brutal that really keep her down. Like Dorinthia can just stack up Dawnblade counters on your dragons, and then and then like when she gets to like 4, she can then attack you. Viscera, when he attacks the dragons, he also sends all the arcane damage still at your face, so he gets to clear the dragons while still presenting damage to you. And because your deck is so red focused, you really cannot block arcane barrier as efficiently. So like, and then all the Marvarian on hits get the dragons. I think that her mechanically she's really cool. You know, she's what Prism should have been. I just think that in the current meta, in my opinion, she's not quite there. But I mean, I think Dromai is very capable of doing well. Like if Dromai won an event, I wouldn't be surprised. I just think that you definitely need to dodge some matchups, and I think you definitely need to play really tightly and know what you're doing. So I think she's top of B, but does anyone want to make an argument for bottom of A?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I will say it's an A tier, but I think it's not her moment in the game. I think that as soon as Prism leaves the game, I think she will feel that spot, you know?
I feel like when Prism leaves, a lot of these heroes will start moving up the ranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
you think
make something unique that is putting auras on play and try to build a big board, and I think any other decks do that. And now that Dromai is out in the game, there's another deck that do the same. So as soon as I said, as soon as Prism leaves the game, I think that Dromai will be there with the control decks.
All
also, right. I have to say that I love the design because as I think auras are not really interactive, I think the Dragon's
Spectra
is really, really cool.
I think Spectra's the worst design in the game, like bar none. Even like Chain and Starvo, which are overpowered designs, they at least make sense, and like they're just there. Spectra has like rules interactions, and like it's not new player friendly, and it's like taxes action points. It's awful.
And it got much worse when they released the Zero Cost auras.
Yeah, the ones from Everfest, right?
Yeah, we can discuss that another time because this video is taking a lot of time. But yeah, I believe that was a really huge mistake in design. It was intentional. But
we got.
Yeah, I don't understand why they.
All right, last hero that I think a lot of people think should be good in this meta, and she is performing, but I think that every time I hear people talk about Lexi, everyone is always saying, oh, but Lexi has such good matchups against these Rune Blades and Fi, and she has game into all these matchups, and then she just never does anything.
I think Lexi have a problem, and is that her bad turns are the worst turns in the game.
Well, second worst,
because
second worst?
You can break yourself and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean it's second worst, right? Azalea has the worst turns in the game, right? On your bad turns.
It's not about having good or it's not a good or a bad deck. It's just it's not stable. I don't know how to say it. You can be a god and draw 2, 3 of a kind and a pair of harder words and just break your opponent in half, or you can just draw two hands with 4 reds and do nothing.
All right, so if you were somewhere in between there, where if where is Lexi like on this tier list? I think she's probably here, in between Oldhim and Dory. But I could also see her being here, maybe.
She's pretty good into every matchup that doesn't have a lot of blues, because she's the best for seeing.
Well, she has disruption, and then also she has a fast clock, right? That's the difference between her and like Oldhim or her and Icelander is when she disrupts you, she also just kills you very quickly.
Yeah, that's it. And I believe it would be really good, but she's being held back by the ranger class. As Pico said, sometimes you just try to do your turn, but you don't have any arrows or cannot use, or there's a lot of. You know,
there's a lot of moving parts.
requirements to your theme. Sometimes it doesn't. It feels so awful.
Yeah, so that's you don't like how that feels, so it's she loses a lot of points in your book for that. That's fair.
Yeah, I cannot blame anyone for not being willing to be careful for a big tournament.
Yeah.
Because she's not consistent. Have praised Viscera and Prison for being really consistent. She's not. She's really good, but she's not consistent.
Is the problem of Lexi.
Maybe we can say it's a good deck to win a tournament, but not to pass the cut.
Okay. Because if you're running hot, if you're running hot, then you'll win.
Excuse me?
I said if you're running hot, like if you're really lucky and you're not whiffing or anything.
Absolutely. So the radio to pass the cut is really low, but if you have the day, you can put everyone in front of you. You can beat him without playing.
That's fair.
Without any interaction. So yeah, I would say it's a C tier.
Oh, you think Lexi's in C tier?
Yeah, because we're saying not as a deck, but as a tournament choice. As a tournament choice.
Tournament choice.
I think it's not really good because if you're playing RTN, for example, maybe it may be a good deck to play. But if you're playing a call-in or a Pro Tour with 11 rounds, you cannot play 11 rounds with that deck, in my opinion. Because
well, I mean, we kind of saw that at the Pro Tour, right? Like Yuki started hot, went like 8-0, and then she kind of bricked off and was unfortunately like had a bunch of losses in a row because she got the other side of variance.
At the end, you have to assume that on tournaments you will have games that you are lucky and your opponent is unlucky, and on the other side you will be, in some cases you will be unlucky and the other guy will be lucky. And the problem with this kind of decks is the same as Levia, that maybe you can lose a game because of your own deck. It's not about luck, it's just about breaking or drawing your hand. It's like you have no choices.
What about you, Pablo? I don't think she's quite this low. I think that she's not as inconsistent as you guys are saying, but I do understand the comments. I think that her floor, or like her baseline is still very strong. I personally would have her here if we were using our tier list. I would have her here.
I will have her in the 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Akuma, what do you think? Oh, Sergio's muted. Okay.
Yeah.
Where in the A tier would you have her?
Probably below the Guardians.
Oh, okay. So here.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think, as I said, I think she has the potential. As a tournament choice, it's pretty risky.
That's fair.
I wouldn't say it's you're going to, every game is going to be determined by luck, but you will definitely have one game where these moving parts won't function well and you'll have a really hard time.
That's fair.
Sorry, I have mute.
Yeah, you're good. Where would you have Lexi? What tier for Lexi?
I think it's a tier A.
Okay.
But behind the Guardians, because she don't have a consistent deck. If you for example don't have arrows, you can continue with your gameplay and you lose. And I think it's a good meta call, but with a inconsistent deck.
It's great how the Spaniards can come at different times and say the exact same thing. I believe that's a good point to put that.
Yeah, for sure. The Spaniards do not like inconsistency. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. This is our final tier list. I'm gonna quickly run through, send this out to get edited, and we'll try and get this up over the weekend. Thanks guys for doing this. We'll try and get more content out with the Spanish team. I know a lot of people are interested to see what you guys think, because you guys kind of just showed up on the scene and have been crushing it. So we'll see everyone at Pro Tour Lille. All 4 of us will be competing.
And we will also be going to Worlds. We can announce that now, unless something catastrophic happened.
Go ahead. What did you want to say?
We will be going to Worlds too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I will also be going to Worlds, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys over there. But I'm glad I started playing Flesh and Blood again. I get to see you guys more often.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here doing this tier list, and let's hope people can stand our really broken English. Get past that and enjoy the content.
Yeah, Danny, I'm gonna do some quick shout outs to our sponsors, and then if you want to say them in Spanish, that that would help. Thank you to Ultra Pro International for supporting us, and Rexona for sponsoring us.
Sí, pues I say in Spanish that gracias a Ultra Pro por todo el material y todo el apoyo que nos está dando, y gracias a Rexona porque no nos abandona.
Awesome. And that'll do it. Leave comments and let us know if you think we're insanely stupid, or if we have it right on. Let us know.
This would be great to revisit and see how wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure.